So over the past few months with this YouTube channel, I've noticed a subtle but quite significant shift in just the engagement and general metrics of this channel. I've noticed that things are going slightly better. I'm just got a lot more subscribers for a start. I'm getting consistently more views and just more engagement, more likes, more comments, and it's quite an exciting time. It's quite exciting to see it happen. But there's one thing that I've really noticed along with this that is quite significant as well, which is basically before I got a video that had 1,000 views, I literally never got negative comments. I wouldn't get that much comments in general, but I would get, when I did get comments, they were always very positive, very friendly, very, very nice. And it's interesting that since this past few months, as things have started to pick up a bit more, I've suddenly started getting negative comments, and in a sense, that's bad news. It's difficult to deal with, whatever. It's part of social media, whatever. It's like I accept it as part of the job, basically. But it's interesting that now I've started to get them, and this is what I'm going to talk about in this video. So there is this phrase which people always use, which is all publicity is good publicity, right? And it's basically this idea that it doesn't really matter what people are saying about you. The crucial thing is whether they're talking about you or not. And kind of whether they're talking about you or not, that's the important thing. And the rest is irrelevant. Obviously it's nice if people are talking about you in a positive light, but even if they're talking about you in a negative light, you're still in there, you're still in the public eye, you're still making an impression on stuff. And it's so true. And there's a reason why so many influencers, pretty much every big influencer you can think of, has at least some, is quite polarizing, and they will have a faction of people who actively dislike them. Think about Andrew Tate, who is basically the most successful social media influencer of our time. Enormously polarizing, probably just so much negativity. So much people say so much negative stuff about him. And it's not a coincidence that he's also the most successful figure in social media, because he recognizes that is part and parcel of publicity, of getting attention, of gaining an audience. Ultimately, the currency of social media is not positive stuff. It's just attention, and attention comes in good and bad forms. But the important thing is its attention. And this is kind of how I view negative comments. I'm basically, when I see a negative comment in my video, I have elicited a negative reaction inside someone. Someone's watched this video and thought something negative about me and then written it down. But that's just, I've done my job. That's me doing my job. They've thought I've influenced them to do something, to respond to my content. And that is not nothing, I do think a lot of comments that I get I've got a lot of good comments as well, which is great. But I do notice that the comments that are more negative, let's say someone comments something like, "Oh, this is a silly video," or whatever. I think that's not quite true, because you wouldn't comment on a silly video. When the kind of comment, I tend not to leave comments because I think it's kind of a bad habit. But when I'm motivated to watch a video, to leave a negative comment on a video, it's never a video that I think silly or a waste of time. It's a video that elicits some kind of emotional reaction in me. Now, again, it's a negative emotional reaction, but when I notice I'm having that reaction, I've still got to recognise that ultimately that influencer has done something right there to elicit that reaction. It still takes some kind of skill to get me to want to dislike a video or to comment something negative on a video. So credit where credit's due, you know. It's the same thing with dating, you know. Like, people often are very confused as to why, like, girls date sort of bad boys, if you will, like guys who are quite like mean to them and seem to elicit quite a negative reaction in the girl. And it's because the currency of the sexual market is not really about like producing lots of positive emotions. It's just, for girls, it's just about producing lots of powerful emotions, whether they're positive or negative. And really, if you want to keep a girl chasing you, what you want to do is just elicit like as many reactions as you can in them, whether it's positive or negative. And that's how you get these kind of situations where people are stuck in sort of toxic relationships where 1 minute the partner's really nice to them, 1 minute the partner's really nasty to them. Because they're eliciting very powerful negative and very powerful positive responses at the same time. And I'm not saying you should do that. Obviously, like, it's a really bad thing when that happens. But the mechanics are the same as on social media. And yeah, so I see it as part of the process. And I do think it's significant that, like I say, for most of the time I've been doing these YouTube videos, I've only got positive feedback. And the second that I get negative feedback, it's the only thing that's changed from my perspective is the amount of views my videos are getting, the amount of engagement that my videos are getting. That's the only thing that's really changed. And I think I'm still grateful for people who leave positive comments like early on in my channel when I was very early. Like, that was a real like boost to me to keep going and stuff like that. But I think I recognise that it's quite easy to encourage someone who's doing not very well. You know, like, I remember when I was doing music, and I'd meet lots of people who were sort of starting out in their journey in music, but they weren't actually doing very well. They weren't really making any headway with it. I noticed people would always give these guys like lots of positive feedback. People would always say like, "Oh, your songs are great," you know, yeah, keep going, don't give up, all this kind of stuff. And to be honest, like, you know, I had the same experience as well, you know, like, people would say the same stuff to me because it's easy to encourage someone who's not doing that well because you feel sorry for them, basically. Like, I'm sorry, but it's just true. And like I say, like, if you left a comment, like, if you were like an old subscriber and you left a comment early on when I was doing this channel, like, that is so lovely of you. Like, I do appreciate it. But I do recognise that a lot of it's easy for people to give compliments early on in your journey when you're not doing that well, you know. And then the second you are doing well, that's when people actually start being more negative to you, start being more judgmental to you, and start actually saying what they think about your stuff, you know. Like, I look back at it on myself, like when I've encouraged people, like in music, for example. Like, I remember so many times I'd sit through open mics that were quite, you know, someone would do a performance and it wasn't amazing, but you saw that they were trying, whatever. And I would offer like positive feedback to them. I'd be like, "Oh, well done, man, that was really good." But to be honest, I didn't really feel like they were that great, you know. I was just saying that to encourage them to be nice or whatever. And yeah, Alex Hormozy talks about this when he started off, like, he was a personal trainer or whatever, and he started off, he was literally like sleeping on the floor and stuff like that. He said everyone was like really encouraging to him when he was starting. But then when he actually got some traction, when he actually started making success from it for himself, everyone started being much less positive to him because he was actually winning, he was actually doing well. And I think it's the same kind of dynamic there with positive and negative comments. And the other thing is, another thing I've realised, like, so much of my life, I've just tried to please everyone. I've just tried to make everyone like me, basically. And you know, this probably goes deep into like childhood experiences and whatever, but I really recognise that in me. Like, it's a really big deal that everyone is cool with me, everyone likes me. But I've recognised recently that I can't stay like this, and like at some point along the line, if you're gonna do something significant, if you're gonna do anything significant, you're gonna attract people. People aren't gonna like you. If you stick up for something, you're gonna have people who are against you. And I just think about like my life and this gift I have of being alive and like living in like relative like just freedom in like, you know, a developed country. And I'm just like, I've got such an opportunity here, and I don't want to waste it. And if I'm really gonna live to my full and I'm really gonna make something of my life, there are gonna be people who disagree with me, and people who don't like me, who actively dislike me, and I've just got to be okay with that. I've just got to recognise that those guys aren't my people. They're not the kind of people I want to hang out with, you know. And yeah, like I'm thinking about, I want to keep this kind of, I won't say too much, but like there's stuff that I'm gonna do over the next few months that are gonna cause people to dislike me for doing those things. But I've just decided that those people aren't important enough for me to sacrifice what I really want. And the thing that I haven't realised for so long with this is you can just about get everyone to like you, but it comes at a cost, which is that you don't like yourself. And I think for so much of my life, like, I've just been so focused on making everyone else like me that I don't really like myself a lot of the time. And it's only been recently that I've just done stuff. I've sort of stayed true to myself, done stuff more authentically, and I've noticed like liking myself more, and it feels so good to like yourself. You know, people say like, oh, self-love's toxic or whatever, blah blah blah, but like real self-love, where you just really have like good respect for yourself, is not a bad thing. Like, we need it. And I just think like I say, life is so fleeting and so precious, and I got such a unique opportunity to be alive here, and I just don't want to waste it doing stuff that makes me dislike myself and disrespect myself. So anyway, to get back to it, like with the comments, it's the same thing, you know. It's just part of pursuing your authentic journey. So yeah, I welcome negative comments to this channel. I see it as a sign that I'm doing something right, if not everything, you know. There's something I'm doing. I'm on the right track if I'm getting negative comments. And yeah, that's basically it. I mean, you do have to distinguish between comments that are genuinely negative and comments that are like constructive. I have got comments in the past that have been like, oh, nice video, bro, but if I were you, I'd work on this. Like, stop saying so much or stuff like that. Those comments, like, they're actually really great, and like, it does hurt your ego to read them a bit. It does, you know, because you are like, oh, yeah, he's right. You know, I'm saying I'm too much or whatever. But they are positive. But I'm differentiating that from just kind of those classic negative comments, which is just, you've just pissed someone off and they've just written something rude to you about you. It's that kind of thing. And yeah. So whether you're on your own journey with this or like you're just interested in what I've got to say about it, I hope you're taking something away from this. It's an interesting topic for sure. And just before you go, I'm doing some one-on-one coaching at the moment, which is basically I'm just trying to help people get more vision and more direction in their life, which I think is a really key thing in self-development. It's a big thing that people need most at the moment. So, you know, if you watch this video and you're interested in getting more direction, getting more purpose in your life, book a call with me and I'll help you out. A lot of this stuff you can do yourself, just journaling or whatever. But I recognise first-hand experience, like how much better it is just to have someone talk this stuff through you yourself. So if you're interested in that, book a call with me below. There'll be a link. But yeah, apart from that, I hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you in the next one.